Coach, can you just talk about the obvious challenges of facing UCF and their up tempo and kind of what you guys have done to try and prepare for that style?
Nothing like opening up with a top 13 team. And, you look at their success over the past, several years and just what they've been able to do and accomplish. And I was just kind of scanning through the game notes earlier. And, out of the past 40 games, I think out of the, 39 out of the last 40, they've scored over 30 points. And offensively, just at their numbers, it's pretty amazing. And just, it's kind of, I want to call it video game-like. Of what they've been able to do with that. So it's certainly a challenge. And as the new guy coming in and challenges ahead, it's not not the way you kind of we want to ease into it. But hey, it is what it is. And our kids are excited, and we're excited to get the season started. That's for certain. It's been a long time coming at that. And I'm excited to see our kids go out there and attack it and go play. I mean, shoot, from the day we rolled around here, I think January 29th, and went through last spring and all those challenges and through the summer. And, hey, it's finally here. So I'm ready for it. And I know that's a lot of long answer to your question there, but it's finally here and it's a challenge, yes, but it is what it is.
Like, is the some teams, they do one thing really well. They have that one quarterback, one running back. Is the thing with UCF the depth? Like last week, they lose a running back and a receiver, and other guys just kind of step in. Is that what makes them difficult?
So they have several weapons. I mean, the quarterback's really good. I think he's the guy right now that kind of makes it go and can get the ball in everybody's hands. Otis Anderson would probably be the next guy to me that kind of if he was out of the equation, you might say, okay, well, maybe not, but he's kind of the guy. If you could stop his run game, you'd feel a little better about it. I mean, he's really explosive. 6 out wide. Marlon Williams had a really strong game last week. He stepped up. 16 was, the Nixon kid was out, so that's why maybe Marlon Williams stepped out. So they got so many weapons. 30, as you mentioned, went out of the game. So they got several weapons all over the place. I've kind of compared them in our coaching staff and our meetings to a triple option attack where you don't really think of Navy as one guy or this guy or that guy. You think of Navy as having, multiple guys, multiple running backs, and these guys have multiple receivers, multiple running backs, and a quarterback that can get everybody the football and, or a point guard that can get everybody the football and out in space and out and in one-on-one matchups and win those matchups. So he does a good job with that for certain.
Blake, when you look at a team like Central Florida, what's the thing you better do against them defensively to at least somewhat neutralize them and turn things in your tide at least a little bit?
The thing we talked to our players about first and foremost is stopping their run game. They ran for about 250 yards last week against Georgia Tech, and we think just to give us a chance to get after the quarterback and rush the passer, you got to stop the run game, and that's maybe not just against UCF, but maybe every week. And I think if you can stop the run game against them and put them in a drop back passing situation, know when the pass is coming, and maybe getting the quarterback's face a little bit, then you got a chance. I think he was like 3 of 11, and when he had pressure in his face, and it gives you a little bit better chance. Now, if he can sit back there and you don't get a chance to rush him, and he can, kind of deal it when he wants to, and he's pretty accurate, and he can take the shots down the field on you. But I think that's where we got to play it. And the little screen games out wide, we call them little smoke screens, where he throws the little ball out quick and gets to those receivers, and to me that's just an extension of the run game. I mean, he's throwing it to Marlon Williams and those guys out quick. Number one, the transfer from Oklahoma, and seeing what they can get up the sideline with it really quick, and they get 7 or 8 yards before you know it, and it's second and short, third and short, and you're behind the sticks. So you got to keep them behind the sticks and put them in second and long and third and long situations and make them operate. So that's going to be our number one goal. Obviously, we talk about turnovers. Win the turnover battle as a football team, create some turnovers for our offense, and then win the third down. You look at Georgia Tech. They did not win the third down last week. I think UCF was 62%. That means Georgia Tech was 38% on defense. That's not a good stat. You really want to be about 70% defensively each week. I think that would put you top in the nation. So I think if we could be about 65% on third down, that would put us in a pretty good situation. So those would be some top keys for us. And then, as Coach Houston, I think, spoke about it earlier in the week, we got to withstand the first quarter. Last year, and it didn't show up as much last week. Last year, they led the nation in scoring offense in the first quarter. They were first in the nation in scoring offense in the first quarter. Second and third quarter, I think they were 100th. And in the fourth quarter, they were 118 in the nation in scoring offense. Now, last week, that didn't necessarily hold true, but that's kind of what we've kind of taught our kids about. Hey, you gotta stay in the fight for 4 quarters. You got to hang in there, keep it close, and keep fighting. And part of that for us is just, play a lot of guys, keep rotating guys in and out, and just keep them fresh. So that's kind of our plan going forward.
Coach, you mentioned this was your first game and a lot of inexperience on the defensive side of the ball. So how much are you relying on guys like Bruce and Xavier to be your leaders and kind of the coaches on the field on Saturday?
Well, we certainly got some younger guys, but we've got a few guys that have played and that have been in battle and been on the field before. So you're certainly going to count on those guys. But after a few snaps, everybody, I think those butterflies will go away, and it's just going to be football, And a little bit of the positive for us is you're not going to have a lot of people there in the stands, and it's going to be just like another practice or another scrimmage or another, contest, and it is what it is. So for those kids, that may play in our advantage a little bit. Is it may be like another scrimmage for us, and those young kids won't know any different.
Are there any other questions?
Coach, I know you've been asked this, but as you head into game week, how many guys are you preparing to play at the defensive line position coming up on Saturday, rotating in and out?
I think we're going to dress. We may dress more, but I think in our travel party, I think there's like 12 to 14 within there. I would say we'll at least play 12. 6 on the edges and probably 6 in the middle there. I would say at least 2 deep, probably 3 deep at times, and just keeping those guys fresh as much as possible. Just looking at UCF, they will sub from time to time, but they'll get on rolls where, they may go 6, 7 plays as fast as they can go, but they won't sub. So that won't give us an opportunity to sub. So we got to find, when they do substitute, we obviously got to take advantage of that and substitute. If we happen to see a deep ball down the field, we kind of been practicing some opportunities where a play side corner, a play side safety may roll in and roll out just to kind of stay fresh there in those opportunities. And then by series as well. So, just kind of keep those guys fresh, like I said, and get them into the fourth quarter and see what happens from there. So, and with young guys, if whether you're a redshirt freshman or a freshman and you haven't played a lot of snaps, ability level, experience level may not be a lot of difference. So we're just thinking, hey, fresh bodies in the third and fourth quarter, that may be more important right now for us.
Are there any other questions for Coach Harrell? Okay, Coach, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
No problem. Coach Kirkpatrick said he's in the shower right now, so he sent me first. He's got to blow dry his hair, I guess, and fix it all up. look nice and pretty. I don't have any hair, so it's kind of really easy for me. So,
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys, and thanks for all you guys do. And looking forward to Saturday, and ready to get back to getting Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium packed and rocking with 7% back in October.
Thanks again.
All right. I'll let DK know you guys are ready. No, I didn't.
All right, everybody. So we'll just wait for Coach Kirkpatrick.
Hello.
Doing?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
Doing well, sir. Well, we got the regular crew here, so we're going to go and let them fire away at you with questions, okay?
Okay, I guess the prison let them out, huh? So
All
let's roll.
right. All right, guys, go ahead.
Not everybody at once.
Coach Harrell said you were doing your hair. What happened to it?
Well, you know what? They also told me that I should wear the mask, that I look better with the mask on. I said, well, I don't know. Anyhow, I think it's called old age. I think it's called too many close ones. I think it's called too many drop balls. And anyhow, I'm just glad I got a little bit of it left.
What do you see in that UCF defense that really concerns you?
Well, there's a lot. I don't know how long you got, how long you want to stay here. They got a lot of experience. They've had a couple of kids that are not playing. And you think, wow, okay, that's got to be really good. And then you look like, oh no, well, that guy was in there last year. This guy played. He had 7 sacks last year. This guy had 24 tackles. So the defensive ends are long, and they can really run. Inside they're big and they're thick, and linebackers, they can just run too. And they all are long. They got long arms. They got good height. Secondary plays with extreme confidence. They just come after you every snap, play a lot of in your face, just man coverage, and they can run. And again, they're long, even the guys that may not have great height, but they're long. They have that football body. It's good because they can reach balls. And so they just play super aggressive, and they're really good.
Donnie, can you touch on the preseason Holton has had and just how much further along he is right now compared to this time last year?
Well, it's night and day from this time last year. And not that he was bad last year by no means, but early there was definitely, some growing pains that a new system. You come in and you leave high school, you got one system. Next year, you got a system. Now you're in your third system here. Some of it, confuses you a little bit. Some of it just how we do things. And early in the year, I kept saying, on these Wednesdays, God, we're so close. There were some signs that we were getting it. We were about to turn the corner. And we just weren't scoring a lot of points. We just couldn't seem to, put enough base hits together to score any runs there. And then eventually, about the second half of this game, it kind of started to come together a little bit for us. And I think minus the Tulsa game, he played, as good as anybody in the country did. I think he's picked up from that in all the practices we've had, which have been many. His accuracy has been the biggest improvement. It made a big jump last year. It's been outstanding, though, through all the practices, all the team sessions, all the different deals. And he's now controlling, the protection so much more, making calls for us, changing plays a little bit more, trying to get us maybe out of something bad, maybe into something better. I think last year he was probably somewhat the leader of the offense, though I think, and really until Reed left, I don't know that everybody looked at him like he was the guy. And as much as we hated losing Reed and what that put us in a tough situation, in the end, it actually probably turned out to make it a better situation for Holton. I think then everybody knew he was the guy, and I think that helped him. I think it helped his confidence. It helped him become a better leader. Now this year, he's becoming the leader of the whole team. You know what I'm saying? That's a big step for when you do that. Now I think the defense kids are listening to him, and he's a great role model. So that's the kind of guy that a coach wants to be, speaking and doing by example and having people follow him, because he's a gym rat. He's always over here watching tape. He's always committed to the deal, and he's doing what's right off the field, and he's leading, in a positive manner. He's been unbelievable for these young quarterbacks. Brought 3 kids in, and they're making that adjustment. And this has been the toughest adjustment year ever with this pandemic and this craziness and the whole bit. So everything's been different, and it's just been wild. And boy, he has really taken all of them under his wing, and they love him for doing that. And that really shows you when you got something special, because he not worried about, I don't want this guy to come in and look good or what. I mean, he wants the team to be good. He wants the team to be good if he gets injured. He wants the team to be good after he leaves.
Coach, what do you like about what your offense is doing now overall as you enter this first ball game with UCF that makes you feel good about your chances against their defense?
Well, I hate to be too optimistic here. On Wednesday, it's hard to be optimistic sometimes. going into such a tough game, here to start off. But what I've liked is we've been able to run the ball so much better. We've improved so much with our run game. I thought the pass game got pretty good by midseason on. We could not run the ball well enough to beat anybody, really. That was the problem. And it became all one-dimensional. And when that happens, they can just scheme you so much, and they can just put so many different rushes in, so many different nickel and dime coverages, so many different schemes that makes it hard. We've worked hard to run the ball, and we've run the ball really well. Some of that's been personnel. I think the running back room is vastly improved. I also think the offensive line is vastly improved in their run blocking.
Donnie,
Go ahead, Ron.
You might be the best resource for this type of question. I mean, you've been at ECU games with the stadium is packed and you have a ranked team and the ABC, primetime coverage, all that type of thing. Have you thought about what that will be like Saturday without the fans and without that kind of home atmosphere and crowd that's used to big games?
Yeah, I have. And the thing about, I guess, is we've told the team we've had 3 scrimmages, and then we had a practice where we scrimmaged about half of the time and then just went thud the other half. So really 4 times we've gone to the stadium, and it's just been us. It's just been us in there, and we played a little bit of music. We got DJ Big John Williams down there spinning some albums and some records and stuff like that. But we've really tried to simulate, and we've told them each time this is what it's going to be like probably this season, or at least at the beginning of the season. And so I think we've just all kind of started getting ourselves used to that's what it's like, and that's probably what we'll have this Saturday. Now, one difference for me is being on the field, you feel that energy and you hear that noise. Like I say, like you're talking about when this thing really did roll and it really did shake. When you're in the press box, it's kind of like that anyhow. So it's not going to affect me much, but I know it's going to affect the team. And the guys on the sideline, they know they got to bring the energy. They got to be that crowd. They've got to be the one that kind of pumps the team up a little bit. So, our video guy today told me that 5 years ago this Saturday to the date would be the last time. I don't know if this is true or not. Y'all will know this, that 5 years ago this Saturday we were on ABC and we played a ranked team, Virginia Tech, in a little bit of a rain that night, and James Summers run them over and we whipped them. And I do remember what it was like in that stadium, and I can't wait till it's like that again.
Coach, you mentioned all the running backs you got in the stable. When you go into Saturday, is there a plan to get everybody a certain amount of touches? Do you ride the hot hand? What's the plan with the running backs?
Well, it's a good problem to have. It can be a problem, I guess, in that, there's only one ball and everybody, wants it. And the more you get it, sometimes you do get into that flow of things. So we've had multiple discussions. We have not made any final decisions. We're really big in Coach Houston's system of every day you have to come and earn your job, and you get what you earn. And so we do want the competition really to keep going every day. And then, there's injuries and there's different things like that affect those things too. But what I do think we'll do is we'll try to probably get 3 of them in some kind of a rotation early. And then, like you said, whoever's seeming to have the most success, you'll ride him, but not to the point where you'll wear him out. It'll take 4 quarters for us to win this game. One of the big keys to the game, we think, for us is to stay in the fight. We need to make it go the full rounds. And so we do want to keep some guys fresh, and that's the advantage of having 3-4 different guys. Some of it will get dictated by what plays we end up running. You're going into the first game especially, your game plan's a little larger usually the first game than it might be later in the season, because you still really are trying to figure out, who we are, what we're good at, what's going to work. And these backs, a couple of them are alike, a bunch of them are different. Some of them are better at this, some of them are better at that. So maybe what runs are working will dictate who gets in, because he's better at these plays. How much you're throwing the ball, that will determine it a little bit too. How much they're blitzing. If it's a big blitz game, you're gonna have to put your guy in there that can protect. And or if the routes to the backs are going, the guys are the better receivers. So there's a lot of things play out through it. But we're having discussions. It's just impossible to actually say, well, this is, it's not like a preseason exhibition game in the NFL where you're going to say, we're going to get this guy 4 carries here in the first quarter and this guy 5. You can't plan it out like that because you don't know how the game's going to be.
Coach, going back to the O-line real quick, it looks like maybe COVID affected a few of the guys' weights, especially at offensive tackle. Is that a concern at all going into the opener, or do you still feel pretty confident about those guys holding up?
Well, it is a concern, but at this point, there's not much we can do about it. I think we all, the whole team, not just the O-line, is affected a little bit by not getting the training that they would have gotten in the spring. We were in really good shape. We were really fired up about this football team when we went on spring break. And then there was a spring break that never ended, So we were going to start spring practice, and we lost that. Well, I think we made that part of it up. I really do. I think we well past that part of it. What we didn't make up, because you can't make up, was then after spring ball, that lifting and that running, and then June and July is when you really harden those bodies, and you get the ones bigger that need to be bigger, you trim the ones that need to be trimmed. And there was no way to do that because, first we thought we were playing August 29th. We were on a race with the clock to get the offensive practices in, the defensive practices in. We were squeezing in conditioning and weightlifting, thinking, hey, we're playing on the 29th. Well, then, if we'd have known it was going to be the 26th, we could have really approached this a little bit differently, but there was no way to know that. And so concerned, yeah, because Central Florida didn't look like they lost anyway, whatever. We got a couple of guys that did. Their other concern is we had a lot of guys that missed a lot of days, and it hit the offensive line, it seemed like, and the defensive line more than any other position, which seems to be common throughout the country. Something about offensive linemen, they love to hang out with themselves, the offensive line. So one guy, got it, then everybody got traced. And what I'm saying, they won't separate, So we had a lot of guys that never tested positive that had to sit out because of the tracing deal, and they missed a lot of practice. So we are a little bit rusty there. But, again, I feel like we're better than we were last year.
Coach, is there any separation at all between your top tight end, which is, I believe, Jeremy Lewis on the depth chart, and your third tight end with Zach Bird? What's that position like going into Saturday, your tight end group?
Well, we got 3 really high quality, I think, tight ends. Jeremy Lewis, who, showed some signs last year, had some injury, nagging type deals, and kept him out some a little bit. Shane Calhoun has come in, and we thought he'd be good in time. I know I will admit that I never thought he'd be this good this early. I never thought he'd be able to handle it, mentally and physically. It's hard on a true freshman to do that. And this is a true freshman that didn't have spring practice. He wasn't a mid-year kid that came in and got practice. So I really think that Jeremy and Shane they've just had one guy this day, maybe the next guy, but really I don't even pay attention to which one's in there. I told Coach Mines, it don't matter. You just roll them. Just make sure we got one of them in there. Zach got a little banged up. He got a concussion early, had a little bit of the deal with the COVID too, missed a lot more of the practices and got put back a little bit behind. He's rallied here late. And so I feel good about all 3 of them. Shane and Jeremy are very similar in what they do. Zach's a little different in the skills that he brings. So some of that would be determined by what we're doing, how we would play him.
Are there any other questions for Coach Kirkpatrick?
I'll ask one more because it's been so long since I've talked to him.
Are you going to ask me about why you're not wearing the Washington football team hat?
Well, I was going to ask you about how bad Bailey's Cowboys are, but I should probably stick to ECU. But, Coach, you obviously want to have ball security every week, but when you see UCF force 5 turnovers, does that kind of amp that up a little bit, what they did on Saturday?
No, absolutely. It was a Maalox moment there watching the game, last Saturday. And they, of all teams that will play, are a team you sure can't give them more possessions. You surely can't give them good field position, like that too. So ball security is, that's captain obvious. Every coach in America is going to have, ball security, high and tight, 5 pressure point. We're going to coach that every day. But I do think that, as a coaching staff, we've obviously tried to emphasize to each other, hey, we got to coach this. We've got to really review the film. We've been doing a lot of ball security drills all camp anyhow, and so that's been good. But in the scrimmages, like the first scrimmage we had now, offensively, we were going to have a pretty good day. We couldn't hold on to the ball to have a good day. We kept fumbling the snap or fumbling the handoff or throwing interceptions, so you have no chance. You have no chance in the game if you go in there and lose the turnover battle. Now, you can't go play conservatively and just say, squat on the ball, or you're never going to be able to score enough points to beat them either. So, it's a little bit of a catch-22. But hopefully we will, protect the ball in all positions. And we got to protect the quarterback so that, he won't have such a tough time making throws over people and getting hit in the chin.
Okay. Any other questions before we let Coach head out? All right. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
See you, buddy.